Have you ever paused long enough to realize that the very thing you're searching for might already be seated in the silence of your soul? Not in some far-off future, not in the hands of another, but within you, right now. We've been trained to believe the answers are always out there, that clarity will arrive through struggle, that peace must be earned through noise, and that wisdom is a gift granted only to those deemed worthy by the world. But what if that was the lie? What if every whisper of longing, every ache for more, was not a signal to go outward, but an invitation to go deeper inward? You do not need to chase truth, it waits behind your own closed eyes. This isn't mysticism, it's law. What is impressed upon the subconscious must be expressed. The screen of space reflects your internal theater. And so I ask you, not rhetorically but seriously, what play have you been running on loop beneath the surface of your conscious mind? Because everything you're experiencing right now is not a punishment. It's not karma. It's not a coincidence. It's the fulfillment of mental instruction. Your subconscious mind is loyal beyond measure. It does not argue. It does not question. It accepts and it produces. What you believe emotionally and habitually, it fulfills like a sacred contract. That's why you must guard your inner speech as though it were the very ink on your contract with life. If your inner talk is fear, your outer world will reflect anxiety. If your inner dialogue is resentment, your body will break itself trying to release the poison. But if your thoughts are shaped by divine peace, faith, expectancy, then your results will be ordered, luminous and whole. If you're resonating with this message, if it stirred something within, pause for a moment and support this work. Like the video, subscribe, not because you owe me anything, but because somewhere inside you know this message needs to live longer, travel further, and reach someone else like you. You see, the world is not moved by noise. It is moved by vibration, and vibration is born in thought. What you habitually feel, you attract. The law of emotional vibration states, the universe responds not to your voice, but to your signal. It speaks in frequency. You could say all the right affirmations out loud and still sabotage yourself if your emotional state is misaligned. This is why affirmations must be saturated with belief. You are not trying to convince the world. You are convincing yourself. And the moment the subconscious accepts a new concept, reality begins to shape itself around that truth. This is not delusion. It is divine pattern recognition. A man who walks as though he is already healed creates a chemistry of health. A woman who speaks from abundance while the bills are unpaid, she ignites the channels through which supply flows. You must act as if the answer is already within you, not because it's some trick, but because it already is. You are not incomplete. You are unawakened. The treasure has always been there. It simply responds to your readiness to believe in it. And belief, true belief, is not intellectual. It is emotional. It is cellular. The law of belief does not respond to what you read. It responds to what you accept as inevitable. That is why people who say, I hope it works, remain in delay. Because hope without belief is hesitation dressed in spiritual language. But those who say, it is done unto me as I believe, walk as if the result is inevitable. And that's when the doors open. That's when reality rearranges. Say this now and comment it so your mind hears it from every direction. I am one with wealth and wisdom, free of fear and doubt. Let it be impressed upon your subconscious as you write it. Let it etch itself into the theater of your imagination. The reason so many fail to see results is because they are double-minded. They plant a seed of belief by day and dig it up by night through worry. But the subconscious mind does not recognize time. It only receives instruction. Every worry, every fear, every repeated inner complaint, it counts. Your subconscious keeps perfect score. That's why you must make your dominant inner speech one of faith. Make peace your permanent emotional background. Do not wait for conditions to change. Conditions are the echo, not the source. They respond to your signal. So if you want something different, you must become someone different. Not later, not when it's easy. Now, this moment. Close your eyes and imagine what it would feel like to already have the thing you desire. Not just see it, but emotionally accept it. Let your heart register the outcome. Let the feeling rise as if it were memory instead of imagination. That's how you reprogram the subconscious, through emotion, through repetition, through vivid inner experience. The law of mental impression states whatever you impress will be expressed. And this law is impartial. It doesn't care if what you impress is joy or fear. It simply fulfills the dominant instruction. So why not choose joy? Why not choose truth? Why not take back the pen and write a new instruction into the book of your life? This is the great secret mystics have always known, that within the silence of the soul lies a divine artist, the subconscious, that paints the outer world with the colors you give it. And if you give it despair, it creates struggle. If you feed it beauty, it reveals grace. And the paintbrush is thought. The palette is emotion. The subject is whatever you consistently contemplate. That's why the Psalms say, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Your heart is not just emotion. It is the subconscious, the hidden command center. So when you guard your heart, you are guarding the source of creation itself. Now here's the paradox. The more you try to force a solution, the more you delay its arrival. Why? Because force is born from fear, and fear is the denial of divine order. The law of divine order teaches that everything flows in perfect timing when you align with the infinite. Trying to control every detail is the spiritual equivalent of stepping in front of a flowing river and demanding it move faster. It doesn't work. What works is surrender. Not as weakness, but as intelligent cooperation. Surrender your doubts. Surrender your timeline. Surrender your obsession with how. Focus only on the what, and let the how be handled by the infinite intelligence that sees what you cannot. You are not here to figure out everything. You are here to remember. To remember that the kingdom of God is within you. To remember that your subconscious mind is the womb of creation. To remember that thought fused with emotion is the divine spark that builds worlds. You have never been a victim of circumstance. You have always been a product of inner law. What is impressed is expressed. That is the foundational law upon which all transformation rests. So if you want to change the effect, go back and change the cause. Stop asking life to be different. Start instructing your subconscious with new emotional blueprints. And now, if this resonated with you deeply, if something inside stirred, rose, and remembered, then make your declaration below. Comment it, impress it, feel it. I am one with wealth and wisdom, free of fear and doubt. Let it be your inner law today, and watch how the world begins to bow in agreement. And once you've declared it, once the subconscious receives your imprint, your role becomes simpler, to walk in alignment with what you've just claimed. This is not about pretending, it's about reassigning authority. You are no longer a beggar knocking on the door of reality. You are the builder, laying each brick with belief. And builders do not ask if the foundation will hold. They trust the design. They follow the plan. They show up, even in the rain. So must you. Faith is not emotional hype. It's disciplined inner loyalty to the unseen. It is the spiritual backbone that carries vision across the valley of delay. The moment you choose to live as though your desire is already so, you become one with the law that governs manifestation. You are no longer hoping, you are harmonizing. No longer wishing, you are walking. And that walk, that invisible inner posture, is what makes mountains move. The most dangerous addiction of the subconscious mind is doubt. Doubt is not the absence of faith. It is misplaced faith in the power of failure. It is imagining the worst and then believing in it. But the subconscious cannot distinguish between fantasy and command. So when you dwell in fear, the subconscious obeys. When you relive trauma, the subconscious obeys. When you say it's too late, the subconscious begins the process of shutting doors. And then we cry out, why is this happening to me? When in truth it is happening through us. The law of mental equivalence tells us that your outer world is simply matching the size and texture of your dominant inner image. Expand the image and the experience must follow. Change the texture of thought, and the form it takes must change too. That is not opinion. That is law. You don't have to fight to change your life. You have to feel a new life into being. The subconscious mind is moved by repetition, image and feeling, not logic, not explanation. That's why so many remain stuck. They're trying to understand their way out of pain, instead of impressing the opposite into their system. If you want healing, stop studying your sickness. If you want wealth, stop reciting poverty. Stop giving airtime to failure. Begin to saturate your consciousness with new ideas. Let them play in your mind like a film you never tire of watching. Let them become so familiar that doubt becomes the intruder, not faith. The more vividly you imagine your desired outcome, the more your subconscious must replicate that signal in the physical world. This is why I urge you, do not wait for external proof. The external is just a mirror. Your job is to change the face behind the glass. You are not meant to be ruled by appearances. That's the trap of the five senses. They tell you what is, but not what can be. And if you keep feeding your subconscious only what your senses report, you are limiting the infinite. You are acting as if what you see is final, but finality belongs to God alone. And God has placed in you a power that overrides every temporary condition, the power to assume, believe, and receive, to act as if the healing is done, to walk as if the love is already yours, to think, feel, and move as though divine order is unfolding, even when chaos surrounds you. That's not delusion. That's dominion. That's spiritual adulthood. That's the silent thunder of true faith. Do you know why some people can walk through fire and not get burned? It's not because the fire isn't real. It's because they are internally insulated with belief. They are clothed in an invisible armor of spiritual certainty. They do not walk by sight. They walk by law. The law of assumption, the law of belief, the law of subconscious manifestation, all of them stitched into their inner garment. And these are not abstract codes. They are living instructions. If you take them seriously, if you program your subconscious with them, then you will become the kind of person for whom miracles are normal. The kind of person who radiates peace when others panic, who receives supply while others scramble, who knows, I don't chase, I don't beg, I align, and what is mine flows to me. And here's what alignment looks like. It's not forced positivity. It's disciplined thought. It's choosing again and again to feed your mind only what you want multiplied. To wake up and declare, this is a blessed day. The divine is with me. Good flows to me in expected and unexpected ways. Not because you're trying to manipulate fate, but because you are dictating the tone of your signal. The law of vibration demands it. You cannot whisper defeat and attract victory. You cannot live in fear and expect to receive peace. Life is a mirror, not a magician. The reflection must match the face you show it. So choose your face wisely. There is no virtue in suffering for the sake of it. Pain is not a badge of honor. It is a message. And once received, it must be transmuted. Do not sit in it. Do not nurse it. Transcend it. The subconscious is not loyal to your potential. It is loyal to your program. So change the program. I imprint it with joy, with courage, with divine expectancy. And every cell in your body, every relationship, every financial path will begin to conform to that internal decree. I am whole. I am wealthy. I am safe. I am free. Say it until the fear leaves. Say it until the cells believe. Say it until the mirror says it back. Many will hear this and nod, but only a few will apply it. Because to act as if requires courage. It requires becoming emotionally loyal to an outcome you haven't yet seen. But that is where all power lives, in that invisible hallway between faith and form. Most turn back in that hallway. They panic. They second guess. They think silence means failure. But the subconscious does not operate on human timelines. It operates on spiritual rhythm. And the rhythm responds to your emotional state. Stay in peace. Stay in faith. Stay in vibration. And the harvest will arrive not because you forced it, but because you became the kind of person who could receive it. So here's the deeper truth. If you want to predict your future, don't look at your current results. Look at your current beliefs. What are you assuming? What are you expecting? What emotional tone plays beneath your casual thoughts? That is the seed. That is the blueprint. That is the silent architect of your reality. And if it is filled with fear, upgrade it. If it is soaked in limitation, renew it. If it is infected with resentment, release it. The law of correspondence says, as within, so without. This is not a metaphor. It is the map. If you want more love, become more loving. If you want wealth, become generous. If you want health, affirm vitality. Begin inside, and everything outside must fall in line. Right now, you have a choice. To continue reacting to appearances, or to create from inner authority. The world will keep offering distractions, noise, reasons to doubt. But you are not here to live by circumstance. You are here to master consciousness. You are here to rise, to lead, to create, to act as if the answer is already within you. Because it is. Because it always has been. Because it always will be. And once you begin to walk in that inner authority, something peculiar happens. Your world starts to rearrange itself without noise or permission. The people who once ignored you begin to pay attention. The opportunities that once eluded you begin to appear. The delays you used to dread become divine detours that protect you. And it's not because you pushed harder. It's not because you screamed louder. It's because you finally stopped begging and started believing. The subconscious does not respond to effort. It responds to embodiment. The more you act as if, the more you become it. And becoming is the only proof life ever needed. When you radiate certainty, life cannot resist. When you walk in emotional completion, the mirror of reality bows to your reflection. You are not here to chase. You are here to reveal. Reveal what has already been planted in the divine soil of your being. That is why inner silence is sacred. Not the absence of sound, but the stillness where you hear your true instructions. In silence there is no begging. In silence there is no fear. In silence the law of divine flow begins to move. Your part is not to make it happen, but to allow it. And allowance is not passivity. It is the highest form of spiritual control. It is knowing when to speak and when to hold, when to move and when to wait, when to affirm and when to receive. Those who master this rhythm become immovable in chaos, untouched by manipulation. They become in essence ungovernable by the world, because they are governed by the Spirit. When you master silence, you become magnetized. People feel it, rooms shift, outcomes bend, because you've returned to your source, and that source is order. You see, to act as if the answer is already within you is to renounce the idol of external validation. It is to stop outsourcing your authority to others. Stop asking people for permission to be great. Stop polling the crowd for consensus on your dreams. No one can validate what they were never assigned to understand. When you wait for approval, you postpone your own transformation. The law of inner authority demands that you affirm your worth before the world reflects it. This is how all breakthroughs begin. In private, in silence, in rooms where only you and God can hear the declaration. I am ready. I am aligned. I am chosen. Say it not because you see it, but because you know it. The world will catch up. It always does. There are those who will hear this and still ask, but how long must I wait? And to that I say, stop measuring your life in hours and start measuring it in alignments. 1 second of inner clarity can do more than 10 years of frantic effort. This is the law of compression. The moment you truly believe, the universe compresses time to serve you. It bends traffic, it redirects people, it alters outcomes, it closes doors you thought you needed, it protects you from deals you once begged for, all because you finally stepped into resonance. You cannot fake this. The subconscious knows. The vibration doesn't lie. And the moment you become it, the moment your cells hum with the energy of completion, the door appears, the call comes, the right people arrive, because you are no longer vibrating from lack. You are vibrating from divine conclusion. This is why your current situation is irrelevant. It is a reflection of old beliefs, old instructions, old images. The real work is not changing what is. The real work is upgrading what you accept as possible. Most people try to decorate the prison of their current belief. They change jobs, change partners, change environments without ever changing their inner narrative. But the law of subconscious reflection guarantees nothing external can evolve until the internal has shifted. You want different results? You must become a different emotional home. Not someday now. Before the money, before the recognition, before the healing, begin to feel it, speak it, live it as if it's already so. That is faith, that is alignment, that is power. And when resistance comes, and it will, it is not a sign that you failed, it's a sign that the old program is dying. Do not run, do not panic, do not revert. The subconscious will always test your loyalty to a new image. It will whisper doubt. It will stir discomfort. But your job is to remain unwavering, to say, I feel the fear, and still I believe. I see the appearance, and still I choose truth. I hear the noise, and still I stay in peace. This is how the new pattern takes root, through loyalty, through fire, through deliberate self-trust. If you can hold the new vibration long enough, it will become default. And once it becomes default, reality must reflect it. That is not magic. That is mechanics. You are here to create from imagination, not memory. The law of mental projection makes this plain. What you project into consciousness becomes the mold into which your life is poured. Most people live recycled lives because they project yesterday into tomorrow. But you, if you're listening to this, are not most people. You are a creator, a spiritual engineer, a sculptor of belief, and your chisel is imagination. Begin to craft new scenes, new outcomes, new emotions, and feel them as if they've already happened. Not because you're delusional, but because this is how reality is designed. It does not respond to begging. It responds to blueprint, and imagination fused with emotion is the divine blueprint. So I say this now to every listener who has ever felt stuck, delayed, or denied. Your answers are not missing. They are waiting for you to stop doubting, waiting for you to stop replaying past pain, waiting for you to stop asking the world for permission to believe in yourself. You were never meant to live in fear. You were never meant to beg for scraps of love, success, or peace. You were meant to command it through inner law. So stand up inside yourself and declare the new order. I am aligned with divine timing. I am overflowing with spiritual wealth. I am guided by infinite intelligence. Comment it now, not just to write it, but to activate it. Let your words be law. Let your voice be the new signal. You are not here to cope. You are here to create. You are not here to wait. You are here to awaken. You are not here to manage mediocrity. You are here to remember your authority. And that authority is not something you earn. It is something you own. Own it now. Speak it now. Feel it now. And walk as if the answer is already within you. Because it is. It always was. It never left. It was simply waiting for your decision to believe. And when you decide to believe, truly believe, the earth under your feet becomes sacred. Your very steps begin to speak. Not to the ears of men, but to the fabric of creation itself. Every thought becomes a decree, every emotion a brushstroke across the canvas of your future. No longer are you moved by shadows, no longer swayed by temporary winds, because something deep within you has rooted. You've crossed an invisible threshold, the point where knowing replaces needing. And once you reach that point, your energy changes. People can feel it. Life can feel it. There is no longer desperation in your voice, no longer anxiety in your prayers, only calm expectancy. And expectancy is not passivity. It is the quiet thunder of alignment. It is the electromagnetic field of a mind that has already received. When you reach this level, fear begins to evaporate. Not because danger disappears, but because you no longer mistake shadows for threats. You've seen behind the curtain. You understand now, most of what people call reality is just untrained thought in disguise. The fears you once bowed to are ghosts of suggestion. Opinions of others are no longer your compass. Your worth is no longer on trial. And because you no longer chase validation, you become more powerful than ever before. This is the law of inner gravity. The more you believe in your divine source, the more life orbits around your conviction. People begin to follow your peace, not because you ask, but because they can't help it. Your certainty pulls them in like gravity, and that gravity is born from stillness, not noise. You must remember, stillness is not inactivity, it is focus. It is spiritual velocity. It is the invisible force that organizes the chaos into order. When you are still within, you give the universe clear instructions. But when you are divided, when your thoughts are scattered, your emotions unstable, you send mixed signals, and mixed signals produce distorted reflections. The law of subconscious precision teaches your results are always accurate, perfectly mirroring the clarity or confusion within. So if things seem unclear, don't look outside. Sit with yourself. Ask not what's missing out there. Ask what belief is out of alignment in here. Because every answer, every solution, every breakthrough, it is not arriving from the sky. It is awakening from your soul. And once it awakens, it speaks in silence. It speaks in calm certainty. This is the voice you must learn to trust. The whisper of the divine within. Not the scream of your doubts. Not the sirens of social media. But the quiet, consistent presence that says you are already enough. You are already chosen. You are already becoming. And once you begin to listen to that voice, truly listen, you no longer panic when the world shifts. You no longer shrink when others misunderstand you. You no longer beg for a seat at tables that were never meant to nourish you. Because you carry your own table now. You carry your own kingdom. And that kingdom was built in thought, in prayer, in silent hours when no one else saw you, but heaven did. This is why spiritual preparation must come before public manifestation. If you skip the inner work, the outer success will collapse you. You'll sabotage the blessing you begged for, simply because you never became the kind of person who could hold it. The subconscious mind doesn't just create experiences, it maintains them based on your inner identity. So if you want lasting transformation, don't just chase the thing. Become the version of you that naturally attracts and sustains it. The law of identity teaches this. You can never rise above the image you hold of yourself. So change the image, elevate the identity, speak from the higher self, walk as him, walk as her, not one day, today. You don't need more advice. You need more conviction. The world is full of information but starving for transformation. And transformation only happens when your inner world becomes non-negotiable. When you stop entertaining every fear that knocks. When you stop explaining your vision to those committed to misunderstanding you. When you stop returning to old habits that no longer fit the future you're building. This is what it means to act as if the answer is already within you. It is not performance. It is permission. Permission to be new. Permission to be free. Permission to say, I release the old. I am loyal only to truth now. So declare this: I am in alignment with divine identity. I carry the energy of completion. I move as one who knows, not one who wonders. Write it, speak it, breathe it. Let it crystallize into the command center of your being. Let it become the new default setting of your subconscious. Because from that place, nothing is denied. Not love, not health, not wealth, not clarity. All things flow to the one who no longer wavers. All things gather around the one who has claimed the truth. And your truth is this: you were never broken, only unaware. You were never too late, only misaligned. And now that you've returned to alignment, watch what happens. Watch what unfolds. Watch what rushes to meet the new version of you. There is no obstacle too great for a man or woman aligned with divine order. Because divine order is not fragile. It is not slow. It is not fearful. It is the most potent intelligence in existence, and it moves through you, through your faith, through your declarations, through your inner posture. When you finally accept this, the fear of lack dissolves, the fear of judgment fades, the noise of the world becomes background static, while the music of spirit begins to play louder and louder within you. And that music, if you follow it, will take you places no GPS can. It will restore your peace. It will elevate your relationships. It will multiply your finances. It will heal what medicine could not touch, because it is the voice of God, and God does not stutter. Now you walk differently. You speak differently. You no longer introduce yourself by your past. You no longer repeat the story of limitation. You carry a new presence, a new frequency. You no longer ask, is this possible? You declare, it is already mine. This is not arrogance. This is reverence. Reverence for the laws that govern your life. Reverence for the power within you. Reverence for the fact that what you declare with conviction, life must obey. Comment it now: I am in alignment with divine identity. I carry the energy of completion. I move as one who knows. Let it echo. Let it anchor. Let it become the new law of your being. And now that you move as one who knows, not one who waits, you begin to feel the subtle shift in everything. The days no longer blur together with dread or confusion. Each moment sharpens into purpose. You stop waking up and asking, what will happen to me today? And start asking, what will I instruct my subconscious to express today? Because now you understand, each day is not given to you, it is shaped by you. You are not a passive receiver, you are a conscious transmitter. The law of daily imprint governs your life, whether you acknowledge it or not. So imprint with intention, imprint with joy, imprint with the expectation that today, something glorious is unfolding. Not because you begged for it, but because you aligned with it. Because what you align with, you activate. This is the turning point that most never reach. They repeat affirmations, but never live them. They speak of faith, but still vibrate with fear. They watch videos, read books, consume teachings, but refuse to embody. But you have crossed that line. You are now in the territory of embodiment. And embodiment has nothing to prove. It is not loud, it does not debate. It simply walks and reality follows. When you embody peace, confusion cannot touch you. When you embody abundance, lack cannot enter your field. When you embody worthiness, rejection cannot define you. This is spiritual dominance, not over others, but over self, over your state, over your frequency, over your reality. At this level, you begin to notice something extraordinary. That your desires no longer come with tension. They feel light, effortless, sacred. And that's how you know you've moved from attachment to alignment. You no longer say, I must have this, or I'll suffer. You say, I already have it in spirit, and the world will reveal it in time. This is the law of detached power. Those who manifest fastest are those who no longer clutch. Clutching is fear disguised as passion. But true desire, when it comes from divine order, feels calm, certain. It flows rather than grasps. And the subconscious mind responds most powerfully to that state. It hears, this is already mine, and begins moving reality into place, one invisible hinge at a time. And yes, there will be moments when it feels like nothing is happening. Moments when the evidence does not yet match the energy. But these are not moments of failure. They are moments of test. The universe doesn't test you to break you. It tests you to confirm. Will you remain loyal to the inner image when the outer world still looks the same? Will you stay in state when no applause is given, no signs appear? no doors open. That is the proving ground of the mystic, the hidden forge of the master. Those who walk by law, not sight, are refined in silence. And those who endure that silence become unstoppable. They become magnetic not because they chase, but because they carry such intense inner certainty that life bows in response. If you find yourself doubting right now, it is not because your desire is wrong. It is because your faith has been underfed. Feed it, speak life to it, guard it, protect it like a sacred flame in the wind. Every time you affirm the truth, you feed it. Every time you visualize the outcome with love and clarity, you feed it. Every time you say, "It is done," and feel the peace that comes with that declaration, you feed it. And eventually, the fire grows strong enough to guide you through any darkness. You won't panic when the storm comes. You won't question the silence. You'll know this is part of it. This is the unraveling of the old. This is the sacred pause before the unveiling. Because that's what manifestation really is. It's not magic, it's memory. The remembering of who you are. The remembering that you are one with the source, that what you imagine with conviction is not a fantasy, it is a preview, a signal, a divine photograph of what's already been assigned to you, awaiting your emotional readiness. That's why acting as if is not about faking confidence. It's about remembering your identity. That's why walking in the energy of completion is not about pretending. It's about calling forth the unseen. And when you operate from this place, people will ask you, "How are you so calm? Why are you so certain?" And you will smile, not with arrogance, but with spiritual humility. Because you know, I am no longer reacting, I am creating. And this energy, it's contagious. It spreads. Not through preaching, but through presence. You walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere. You sit in silence and people feel safer. You speak once and it lands like thunder. Because you're not just talking, you're transmitting. Your words are backed by law. Your vibration is saturated with identity. This is how the healed lead. This is how the aligned create. This is how the chosen move. Without needing to prove, explain, or argue. With stillness, with clarity, with the calm fire of a mind at peace. So speak it again. Comment it again. Not as a ritual, but as a resurrection. I walk in the energy of completion. I manifest through remembrance. I align without attachment. Let the words burn away your old self. Let them carve new neural pathways. Let them sink into your cells until they are no longer affirmations, they are facts. Inner facts that reality must confirm, because the subconscious has received the order. The blueprint is in motion, and life, being obedient to law, is now reshaping itself to match your decree. You're not becoming powerful. You already are. You're not becoming worthy. You already were. The only thing that was missing was your permission. And now that you've given it, watch what comes next. Watch how peace enters first. Then clarity. Then sudden acceleration. Then breakthrough. Because once the internal locks click into place, the external world has no choice but to respond. It must. It always has. It always will. Not because of effort, but because of alignment. Not because of noise, but because of law. And now the momentum is irreversible. You've crossed too many thresholds, declared too many truths, embodied too much clarity to ever return to who you were. That old self, the one who doubted, the one who chased, the one who asked for permission, is no longer in the room. It died quietly in the presence of your new awareness. And what has replaced it is a version of you that does not seek validation. It gives direction. A version that does not tremble in the presence of resistance. It welcomes it as evidence that something new is taking root. Because this version of you understands the sacred paradox. Resistance is not a block. It is a signal that you are close. Close to breakthrough. Close to collapse of the old timeline. Close to the unlocking of something that required you to first become unshakable. You are now operating from the law of inner causation. What does that mean? It means that nothing in your outer life happens without your inner instruction. The world is not acting on you. It is responding to you. When you feel overlooked, it's not because people don't see you. It's because your subconscious still expects invisibility. When you feel rejected, it's not because you aren't worthy. It's because a wounded script is still broadcasting fear. But when you shift the root, the fruit must change. Speak visibility. Expect worthiness. Feel chosen. Not someday, now, and not just once, but until it becomes the only emotional frequency you live in. Because once the subconscious accepts a new cause, the external must mirror its effect. And so now the question is not how do I get it, but who do I need to become to match it. You see, the goal is not to force reality, It is to become the type of person for whom the desire is natural. A peaceful man doesn't need to chase stillness, it flows from him. A wealthy woman doesn't chase money, she magnetizes opportunity because her identity carries the energy of expansion. This is the law of embodied magnetism. When you become it, you no longer need to hunt it. When you assume the identity, the external rushes to confirm. Not slowly, not reluctantly, but precisely like water finding its level. Your only job is to walk in truth before truth becomes visible. This is why emotional rehearsal is more powerful than strategy. Because the subconscious doesn't understand spreadsheets. It understands state. It listens to frequency. So before you write the plan, write the feeling. Before you chase the goal, sit with the end result and breathe it into your nervous system. Ask yourself, what would I feel if it were already done? How would I walk, speak, breathe, rest? This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual programming. You are building the scaffolding for a reality that must obey your inner state. This is how the law of emotional blueprint works. The clearer the inner structure, the faster the outer form appears. And if you've ever felt stuck, it's not because you lack effort, it's because you lack emotional clarity. Let this be the moment that ends all confusion. The moment where you no longer wonder if, but accept now, not later. Not when life cooperates, not when people approve. But now, because now is the only language the subconscious understands. Every time you say it's coming, the subconscious hears it's not here. But when you say it is done, it begins arranging circumstances to confirm the order. Life is not waiting to bless you. It is waiting for you to stop contradicting yourself. Declare with one voice, feel with one heart, align with one identity. That is when momentum becomes destiny. That is when every law bends in your favor. And yes, there will be noise. There will be opinions. There will be people who try to remind you of who you used to be. Let them. Their memory of you is not your prism. It is their echo. And echoes always fade. You are no longer in the room where that version of you lived. And because of that, you owe no one your explanation. Only your embodiment. Only your presence. Only your unshakable peace. That peace will speak louder than your defense ever could. That clarity will rearrange your life more quickly than your effort ever has. And the ones who once dismissed you will come back, not to congratulate you, but to ask, how did you do it? And your answer will be simple. I believed before I saw. I acted as if. I became it. And if anyone tries to tell you that you're delusional, that you're unrealistic, remember this. Every breakthrough begins as delusion to the untrained mind. Every miracle looks like madness until it manifests. But you are not building for their comfort. You are building from divine law. You are not waiting to be understood. You are walking in covenant. And those who walk in covenant never apologize for their faith. They live it, they breathe it, they rest in it, and they reap the harvest, not because they manipulated reality, but because they remembered the truth and aligned with it. Say this now and write it below. I no longer chase, I align. I act as if because I am. I declare and life obeys. Not to impress anyone, but to impress it upon your own subconscious. Let it be the command that replaces a lifetime of hesitation. Let it be the instruction that rewires your identity. Let it be the signal that says, I am done playing small. I am done pretending to be confused. I know who I am, and I move from that knowing. And from that knowing I call forth a life of order, beauty, power, and peace. Everything from this point forward flows faster. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Because your frequency changed. Your language changed. Your posture changed. And once that inner atmosphere shifts, the outer weather must obey. That's the law. That's the truth. That's the rhythm of those who no longer wait for signs. They become the sign. There is no turning back now. The words you've spoken are not just sounds in air. They are seeds in motion. Some will sprout in days. Others will move through unseen soil, shifting circumstances behind the curtain of your awareness. But every word, every declaration, every I am soaked in faith is doing its work. This is the law. This is the rhythm of those who understand the truth, that creation responds not to noise, but to alignment, not to hope, but to conviction. You have entered a higher current, and from here the question is not whether life will change, but how long you're willing to stand in your identity until it does. Speak it until it's the only voice you recognize. I am the voice of divine order. I am the echo of the infinite. I am the stillness that moves the world. You are no longer reacting, you are governing. This is the transition. Before you looked at conditions and adjusted your belief. Now you adjust your belief and watch the conditions follow. This is how you reclaim the throne of your mind, not through aggression but through authority. And authority sounds like this: still, certain, and unshaken. You don't need to raise your voice, you need to lower your doubt. The universe isn't impressed by volume, it responds to resonance. So drop into the frequency of truth, into the posture of one who knows. Say it with calm fire: I am already who I choose to be. I am not preparing, I am embodying. Understand, repetition is holy. Every time you speak, you carve a groove into the subconscious. At first it resists, then it remembers, then it obeys. Do not stop because your life hasn't caught up yet. That's not the time to retreat. That's the time to double down. The delay is not denial, it is digestion. Your inner world is reorganizing. Your outer world is receiving new instructions. You are replacing years of programming with a single new voice, and that takes courage. Keep going. I am patient with process. I am relentless in truth. I speak as one who cannot be undone. This is how you become untouchable, not because nothing goes wrong, but because nothing shakes your root. Even when storms come, your language remains clean. You don't curse the rain. You command the harvest. You don't describe the wind. You declare your shelter. And in doing so, you separate from the crowd. You become one of the few who governs energy instead of reacting to emotion. This is what the mystics called mastery, and you have begun to taste it, not in theory, but in your own body. Speak this even when no one is watching. I am steady. I am sealed in peace. I am unmoved by noise. And now, something more. Now, you begin to speak not just for yourself but for others. You begin to bless those who still curse. You begin to speak light over the ones trapped in darkness. This is the mark of the transformed. You no longer guard your power. You give it because you know it cannot be depleted. When your word becomes law, your presence becomes healing. You walk into rooms and shift atmospheres, not by force, by frequency, not by preaching, but by presence. I am a walking mirror. I reflect truth. I carry divine remembrance wherever I go. Let this next declaration anchor you beyond this video, beyond this day, beyond this season. I am no longer impressed by appearances. I speak reality from the invisible. I am backed by law, guided by spirit, and surrounded by power. Say it again. Not for me, for you. Say it until your nervous system quiets. Say it until your breath slows. Say it until your future becomes your present. This is your signature on the contract you already signed with God before birth, to speak, to create, to embody, and to rise. And yes, doubt may return. Fear may whisper. That's fine. You're not here to never feel them. You're here to rule them. To notice the voices and choose the higher one, the true one, the one that feels like home, even if you haven't lived there yet. That's the voice of the divine. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It simply says, I am, and that's enough. You are the host of that voice now, the bridge between the seen and the unseen, the speaker through which the word becomes flesh. Walk in that. I am the embodied prayer. I am the spoken manifestation. I am the cause of every effect. So from here, speak as one who has already arrived. Not as performance, as posture, not as manipulation, as magnetism. Speak in the morning before the world invades your mind. Speak before bed and impress it upon the canvas of your dream state. Speak in silence. Speak in chaos. But above all, speak with clarity, because clarity is what the subconscious obeys. And once you are clear, the world becomes obedient. Now, if this message struck something deep in you, if it reminded you of who you are and what you're capable of, then don't stay silent. Boost this frequency. Share it. Let others feel what you just felt. And in the comments below, seal your identity with one final decree. I speak as law. I move as truth. I am the voice the universe obeys.